On March 27, 2025, the provincial government announced new rules for the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, SINP. These changes come after the federal government cut the number of people Saskatchewan can nominate to become permanent residents. The province now has to make tough choices about who gets in and who doesn't. Key takeaways: Saskatchewan's nomination limit for 2025 was cut in half by the federal government, prompting major changes to the SINP. Overseas applicants without a job offer in Saskatchewan, including many who applied through popular SINP streams, will now have their applications returned. Only international graduates from Saskatchewan schools are eligible under the student category, and PGWP holders from other provinces face stricter limits. Sectors like food services, retail, trucking, and hotels are now capped at 25% of total nominations, while some jobs, like spas and salons, are no longer eligible at all. 3 immigration streams, entrepreneur, international graduate entrepreneur, and farm owner, operator, have been permanently closed. The reason behind the SINP change: earlier this year, the Government of Canada slashed Saskatchewan's 2025 nomination spots by 50%, giving the province just 3,625 nominations, the lowest number in over 15 years. The federal government also added a new rule: 75% of all nominees must already be in Canada on a temporary visa, which is bad news for skilled workers living outside of Canada. In response, the SINP paused new job approval forms to give the province time to adjust. During the pause, SINP reviewed current applications, created a new plan to make the most of the reduced nominations, made sure the limited spots would be used fairly and strategically. The pause on job approval forms is now over, but new rules apply, impacting who can apply to the SINP. A full list of updates to the SINP and who they impact. To manage the cuts made by the federal government, the Government of Saskatchewan has made important changes to the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, SINP. These updates are now in effect and will shape who can be nominated to live and work in the province. The changes focus on supporting key sectors, limiting nominations in others, and closing certain immigration streams. Some applicants and employers will now have fewer options, while others will continue to be prioritized based on Saskatchewan's labor market needs. Below is a full list of what's changed and who is most affected. New rules limit who can apply from outside Canada. One of the biggest changes is that only overseas candidates working in healthcare, agriculture, or skilled trades will continue to be prioritized for nomination. These are areas where Saskatchewan still has a serious need for workers, and they match the federal government's new express entry system, which now focuses heavily on these same job sectors. The SINP has long been a popular immigration pathway for skilled workers living outside Canada, especially for those applying without a job offer. But with these new changes, most overseas applicants in other occupations will no longer qualify, unless they already have a valid job offer from a Saskatchewan employer. Overseas applications will be returned. One of the biggest changes for workers outside Canada is that if you applied through the Saskatchewan Express Entry or occupations in demand categories without a job offer from a Saskatchewan employer, your application will be sent back and not processed. This is because the SINP is now focusing its limited nomination spots on candidates who are already living in Canada on a valid temporary visa, or have a job offer in Saskatchewan, or are in high-priority sectors like healthcare, agriculture, or skilled trades. As a result, applications that don't meet these new criteria will be returned. If your application is returned, you can request a refund of your application fee by contacting the SINP directly. It is unclear right now if SINP applicants who have already submitted a permanent residence application to Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada, IRCC, will be impacted. Changes impacting international students. The SINP has made some big changes to students who can apply under the Worker with Saskatchewan Work Experience student category. These are: you must graduate from a school in Saskatchewan. Only students who went to a designated learning institution, DLI, in Saskatchewan can now apply. If you studied in another province, you can't use this stream anymore. You must have lived in Saskatchewan while studying. You need to show that you lived in Saskatchewan while you went to school and while you worked after graduation. Your job must match your studies. PGWP holders who studied outside Saskatchewan but are working in the province are no longer eligible for the Saskatchewan Experience Pathway. However, they may still qualify under the International Skilled Worker Employment Offer category. Nominations now limited for certain job sectors. As part of the changes, the SINP will now limit how many nominations can go to certain types of jobs. Only 25% of all yearly nominations can be used for workers in the following sectors: food services, like restaurants and fast food; retail, like stores, supermarkets, and gas stations; trucking; hotels and accommodation. Some jobs are no longer eligible for the SINP as part of the new changes. Some jobs are no longer allowed to use the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, SINP. This means that workers in these jobs cannot apply, and employers in these areas cannot hire through the SINP. The jobs that are now not eligible include spas, like massage or wellness centers; salons, such as hair, nail, or beauty salons; pet care services, like grooming or boarding. Veterinarians are still allowed. Program closures. 3 immigration streams permanently shut down. 3 SINP immigration streams have been permanently closed. This means that new applications are no longer being accepted, and these programs will not reopen in the future. The closed streams are entrepreneur category. This stream was for people who wanted to start or buy a business in Saskatchewan. It is now closed to all new applicants. International graduate entrepreneur category. This program allowed international students who graduated from a Saskatchewan school and wanted to start a business in the province to apply for permanent residence. It is now permanently closed. Farm owner, operator category. This stream supported people who wanted to buy and run a farm in Saskatchewan. It is no longer available. Removing eligibility for certain work permit holders. The announcement says that some open work permit holders, including those with spousal open work permits, are no longer eligible for the SINP. Due to limited information on this, it is not yet clear exactly how this change will be applied or who will be affected. Need more information about these changes? Saskatchewan's government is offering information sessions for those who are impacted by this change, but they're taking place soon, so it's important to act now.